So if you've been looking at PC parts anytime recently, you've probably had a bit of a shock. The price of computer memory has just absolutely exploded, and it feels like it happened overnight. How in the world did we get here? And is there any end in sight? Today, we're going to break down the perfect storm that's making one of the most basic PC components ridiculously expensive. And when I say exploded, I'm not kidding. We are talking about price increases of over 300% on some memory kits. No, that is not a typo. In just a matter of months, some types of RAM have pretty much quadrupled in price. What used to be a simple, affordable upgrade is now a major financial decision. And this isn't just some abstract number on a chart. This quote right here, this is the reality for people trying to build or upgrade their computers. Just imagine, the RAM you bought for a decent price is now selling for what a pretty high-end graphics card used to cost. It's an absolutely staggering jump that has everyone asking, what on earth is going on? So, what is the real story here? Is this just a single case of supply and demand getting out of whack? Or is there something, a little more complicated happening behind the scenes? Well, it turns out to understand what's happening right now, we actually have to look to the past. Because, believe it or not, this isn't the first time the memory market has gone completely off the rails. To really get a grip on the current situation, we have to rewind the clock. What's happening today has these weird echoes of a massive scandal from the early 2000s known as the DRAM cartel. And that was a clear, proven case of companies rigging the market on a global scale. So what exactly is a cartel? Well, think of it like this. It's an illegal conspiracy. It's when companies that are supposed to be competing with each other secretly get together and agree to stop competing. So instead of trying to win you over with better prices, they all agree to jack up the prices together, guaranteeing huge profits for themselves and, of course, screwing over the consumer. And this wasn't some short-term thing. The original DRAM cartel ran for over 3 years. And as you can see from this timeline, even after they stopped in 2002, it took years and years of investigations on multiple continents before they were all finally held accountable. The consequences here were just staggering. The U.S. Department of Justice handed out more than $729 million in fines. But it didn't even stop there. This was treated as a major criminal conspiracy, and several top executives were actually sentenced to prison. The message was loud and clear. If you rig the market, you are going to pay a very heavy price. Okay, now let's fast forward to the more recent price spike, the one that happens between 2016 and 2018. Prices went crazy again, but this time something was different. There were no secret meetings discovered, no criminal charges, so why not? Well, the entire structure of the market itself had changed. And this chart right here illustrates the new reality perfectly. The global memory market has become what's known as an oligopoly. You have just 3 companies, Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron. And together they control an insane 96% of the entire world supply. When so few players hold all the cards, you don't need a secret conspiracy anymore. So what's the big difference? Well, an illegal cartel, that involves explicit, secret agreements, backroom deals. An oligopoly, it doesn't need that. The companies can get to a very similar result, but through a totally legal process called tacit alignment. And the way this works is actually pretty simple. One company can just publicly announce that it's cutting production to stabilize the market. The other 2 companies see this. They understand that getting into a price war would kill everyone's profits, so they just do the same thing. No illegal phone calls, no secret handshakes needed. But for us, the consumer, the result is pretty much identical. Less supply and much higher prices. But hold on. That oligopoly structure has been in place for years now. So what was the trigger for this latest, absolutely vertical price explosion? It comes down to 2 little letters. AI. The incredible, unprecedented boom in artificial intelligence has completely flipped the memory market on its head. And the reason is just simple economics. The super complex, high bandwidth memory, or HBM, that's needed for AI data centers is just way, way more profitable to make than the standard DDR5 RAM that goes into our gaming PCs. From a business point of view, it's a no-brainer. You're going to prioritize the product with the massive profit margins every single time. And this kicks off a really clear domino effect. A factory can only make so much stuff, right? So every single production line that gets switched over to build that complex HBM memory for AI is one less production line making the DDR5 RAM that we consumers need. This isn't some accidental shortage. It's a direct result of a strategic business decision. And if you need any more proof that this pivot is real, look no further. Micron, one of those big three companies, recently announced they are shutting down their beloved consumer brand, Crucial, after nearly 30 years in the business. And why? To focus their resources on the much more profitable AI and business markets. The message to the average PC builder could not be any clearer. So we have the market structure of an oligopoly, and we have the massive economic pull of AI. But that's not even the whole story. There's several other factors at play that are basically throwing gasoline on this fire, creating a perfect storm for these runaway prices. First, you've got pure panic. Just the announcement of a future shortage causes wholesalers to buy up huge amounts of inventory, which creates an immediate artificial scarcity. Then, retailers see the market prices going up, and they reprice the stock they already have on their shelves, even if they bought it at the old, lower price. You mix in a little bit of speculation on top of that, and you have the recipe for the chaos we're seeing right now. Okay, so with all of these forces smashing together, what does the future actually hold? For anyone out there hoping to build a new PC or even just grab a simple RAM upgrade, the forecast is, well, it's pretty grim. Industry analysts just don't see any quick relief coming. Prices are expected to keep rising all the way through 2025, with the peak of this crisis not even expected until 2026, maybe even 2027. The only real light at the end of this very long tunnel is the potential for the AI bubble to pop sometime around 2028, which might bring some sanity back to the market. But man, that is a long time to wait. And this is absolutely critical to understand. This is not just about your system RAM. This is a crisis that is affecting every single component that uses these memory chips. That means SSD storage prices are already climbing, and we're starting to hear that the price of graphics cards could be next because the VRAM they rely on is getting more scarce and more expensive too. This quote from an industry analysis really just sums up the whole situation perfectly. From the manufacturer's perspective, they have a hugely profitable, high-demand customer in the AI industry. So the consumer market, with its much lower profit margins, becomes what's left over. We are no longer the priority. We are simply the adjustment variable in their new financial model. And that really is the question that this whole crisis leaves us with. In this new world, one that's driven by massive corporate demand for AI, has the individual PC builder been permanently pushed to the back of the line? It's a pretty sobering thought for the future of the entire PC industry, and it's one we're all going to have to deal with. Thanks for tuning in.